All right. Hi. So the temperatures here have been pretty outstanding, like mid to lower 50s. And where I live is in Zone 8B, Garden Zone 8B in the Pacific Northwest, like the Puget Sound area, a little bit north of Seattle. And we were just out enjoying the weather. I was hanging up laundry, and yeah, it was great. So last October, I posted a video talking about our move from the cabin in the woods to our new place, and I showed you part of our garden where I had planted some cold hardy annual flowers. And what I want to share with you today, for those of you who are interested in growing different kinds of flowers, I mean, you might have heard of zinnias and dahlias and sunflowers, but what are all those other different flowers that you don't quite recognize as easily? Snapdragons, of course, but there's other like filler flowers and beautiful flowers that you see in bouquets, but you might wonder what they are and how to even grow them. And you might see them in the nursery in the spring where you live, but you realize that if you were to buy a bunch of those, it would be super expensive. And so I'm going to share with you what I've been growing to expand my flower bouquet horizons and my dried flower horizons for my own gardening purposes. What the cold hardy annuals are, if you're not familiar with them, pretty much every flower growing channel I've seen has shared this book, but it's really good. It's called Cool Flowers, and it's by Lisa Mason Ziegler. Yeah, Lisa Mason Ziegler. It's a really handy book, and it goes through what these cold hardy annual flowers are and how they can work for you in your garden zone. So there's different ways that you would plant these depending on your garden zone. Like I said, I'm in Zone 8B, which is an amazing garden zone to be in. I can pretty much grow any flower in the fall. And what she talks about, and one of the little secrets that most people don't really know, is that a lot of these beautiful flowers that you see are actually planted in the fall or in the late summer, depending on your zone, and they can germinate and get their little roots going, and they'll be tough enough to overwinter where you are, depending on your zone again. And you'll have these beautiful, robust, very long stemmed flowers coming in spring. And that's one of the benefits of doing this. But there's also, you want a succession plant. So if you want to be selling flowers for market, which is something that I'm very interested in doing and have done, you want to have a consistent supply of flowers throughout the growing season. And there's all kinds of tricks you can do. I'm learning as I'm going. And you can even plant like sunflowers a little early if you have a hoop house. The pro-cut sunflowers, which have a very short growing day, but that's beside the point. That's not a cold hardy annual. I'm only going to talk about cold hardy annuals in this video. So I grow for my own happiness. I grow for flower bouquets to sell and to share, and then I grow for dried flowers throughout the summer and then fall. I make lots of dried flower arrangements, wreaths, and things like that, and I sell those at the markets. It's so nice to have a huge variety. I'm gonna go over what I personally have planted, but in her book on page 138, actually, she has a list of the names and then their hardiness winter zones, and then basically the seed starting method. It's really helpful to just kind of go through that. What I've done, and I have not even done all of these, there's so many amazing flowers in here that I'm not even growing this year. I'm going to grow them next year. But what I have planted, so I'm going to go through this right now, and I'll show you the garden beds as well right now. I filmed a little bit yesterday and show you the status on a lot of those. So I am growing dill. I seeded dill back in the late summer, early fall, and I didn't see it germinate. So I actually started some dill indoors. I don't know if I'm going to recommend that. I tried it last year, and I had an outdoor kind of heated hoop house that I was babying them in. And so this year I'm keeping them inside and I'm trying to harden them off, but we're due for some lower 30s temperatures, and I don't know if I'm comfortable leaving the dill out there at their young, tender age right now. But what I planted last summer / fall were snapdragons, bachelor buttons, larkspur, sweet William, some foxglove, strawflower, sweet peas, bells of Ireland, love in a mist, let's see, and pincushion flower. Okay, those are ones that I planted. They're actually out in the ground and they overwintered. And so you'll see in this video, I'm showing you, like here, for example, in the garden is the love in a mist. So these love in a mist I planted, and look at how great they look right now. They're just amazing. I had a agribon cloth over them, primarily to keep the rabbits out, because our big garden, the rabbits are getting in. But it also helps keep them warm, and it's a good idea to have some agribon over your hardy annuals and your flowers to keep them slightly warmer. I planted a bunch of sweet peas, and a lot of them are still going great, but we had a really, really deep freeze, and some of these sweet peas were huge over the winter. But I didn't cover all of them very well, and they really died back quite a bit. So I'm watching them. I don't know if they're completely dead. I see some life in a lot of them still, so I'm keeping an eye on that. My pincushion flower I planted last end of summer, early fall, and they're just doing so well. These snapdragons, of course, I have so many snapdragons that I've planted. They're all in the ground. They're doing great. You can pinch snapdragons, kind of like basil, and they'll form new shoots, and you can take those cuttings that you took off, that you pinched off, and you can reroot those, so you can have so many potential snapdragon plants. It's crazy. I'm gonna have a lot, and I've planted more snapdragons in this December, actually it was December, kept them under the grow light inside, and I've been hardening them off and putting them outside, so I'm going to have all these successions of snapdragons. Strawflower, I've planted a lot of those. I started those indoors and I've been hardening them off outside. Bells of Ireland, the same thing. And then also, if any of you flower aficionados out there have any other reference books, because I have a feeling she's listed off a lot of really great flowers, but I just wonder if there are maybe more old-timey books out there. I'm sure there are, that give other tips about flower farming and things like that, because that is what we are doing. My children, I'm hoping to get them involved in planting these things, you know. It's such a joy. And you know, look at here, these seeds that I got, botanical interests. I made sure to get heirloom. Okay, check your seed packet. I like to get heirloom whenever I can, so that I can save the seeds. You know, these are from seeds, or from sweet peas from last year, and I saved the pods, and I haven't bought sweet peas except for a different variety. But yeah, 2 whole packets of these that I'm reseeding and planting this year, so that's very exciting. I think that's it. Let me put my glasses on here. Sorry, I can read, but this little thing right here, I think I covered everything. So you see my garden, and you see, I mean, it's not the most professional looking garden. I'm more of I have my garden beds fit within the landscape, and I kind of like to do different things. So I don't have a whole bunch of straight rows like those big flower farms do. And that is something that I will be assessing every season to, you know, see how things work better. And we are starting a really, really small hobby farm flower business. It's very, very casual, low key. I'm just doing a few markets and doing the farm stand and stuff like that, and picking up the pace each year. So as we do this, I'll give you some of the hints and things like that. Oh, and also, those aren't the only flowers that I've been planting. I'm just reminding you, I'm just doing the cold hardy annuals in this video. So I'll talk about the other flowers, and I'll show you what I'm growing under the grow lights inside as well. Okay, I'm gonna stop the video there. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye.